Yo, people, what's going on? Back again. Rants and Redmond in the house. What's good, my bro?
I'm sick, G. I'm sick. How are you?
Yeah, not too bad. Not too bad, my bro. Big up
I'm
everyone
good.
inside. You know what I'm saying? Over 200 of you lot in here. Make sure you get them likes up to over
Jeez.
50% immediately. You know what I mean? Big
Jeez.
up everyone. What you saying, fam? Boy, it's been, hey, listen, a lot can happen in a few weeks, innit?
Hey, my friend. My friend, what's up, bro? What's up, fella? How you doing, broski? You know what I'm saying? I've actually got a few things that we want to talk about, but it's your show, so I don't want to dictate where the show goes. You know what I
Bro,
mean? But
listen, go ahead, bro, because I ain't got too many, I ain't got too many great things to say on my side, so go for it, mate.
I feel you. I feel you. Yeah, let's dissect Man United then, because I know Liverpool was in the title, and I know you've spoken about Man United loads. I think you
Exactly.
made an
So,
interesting claim.
what's that?
I
What?
I think the interesting claim that you've recently made is that United. Now, let me know if I've misquoted you. I don't want to be a prick.
Cool.
I'm not looking to
Okay.
be a bellend. Man United deserve to win the game.
When did I say that?
Oh, no. Man United didn't deserve to lose the game. Am I right?
Okay. Okay. Yeah, that's completely different. Yeah, that's completely different.
Whoa. Did I not say, don't let me misquote you?
Yeah.
That was
Yeah.
your
Yeah. Yeah.
opportunity to say, James, you're wrong, you
Yeah.
stupid bastard.
Absolutely.
Quote me correctly. Yeah, there we go.
Absolutely.
Um, well, I disagree with that claim.
Yeah, that's fine. You're well within your right to disagree with that.
No, yeah, let's have a proper discussion about this because I think you're using flawed logic. Can you give me a brief explanation why you feel like you didn't deserve to lose that game?
What other than how the game went?
So the game went you losing the game, so you can't use that because the game
No,
went
no.
as
The
you
the
losing the
flow the
game.
flow
So
of the game. The flow of the game. They were fortunate to get a
now it's
win.
the flow of the game that's important as well. No,
They
go on,
they
you carry
they
on.
were fortunate. They were very fortunate to get the win. When you look at how they played, how we
Yes,
played. When you look at the chances in the game as well, do you know what I mean? Some people will talk about the offside goal and that. I'm not using that as an excuse, but do you know what I mean? Like it is what it is. Some people are saying it was off, some people are saying it wasn't. In real time, I thought it was offside. When I've seen the
mm,
stills, it's I don't see how you can give that as offside in it if you actually look at the stills. Whatever, it doesn't matter. The point is, if that goal stands,
hmm
it's 2-1. We probably win the game in it. Like it's fine margins in football. Our goalkeeper
that's
didn't
right.
have our goalkeeper didn't have loads to do. Do you know what I mean?
hmm
Their goalkeeper didn't have loads to do. It was a pretty
Yeah,
even game. But you have to look at the fact that
yeah.
Arsenal with a home team is always on the home team to come out and do something. As an away team, you don't have to go and impose yourself on a team. It's just like in fighting, you have to go and take the belt off the champion, innit? Like that's what it is. Like that's what it is.
Yeah,
Do you know what I mean? You
yeah.
have to impose yourself, innit? To me, Arsenal didn't really do enough really to win the game, in
But they
my
won the game.
opinion.
So
No,
that's
but it
where I've got a
doesn't.
problem
Yeah,
with what you're saying.
but you have to look at how they won the game. That was even contentious. When you look at the Declan Rice goal, yeah. When you look at the Declan Rice goal, it's clear, yeah, that the defender's holding Johnny Evans and he can't get out to make the block. Like I've never seen a player have that much time and space in the blocks. That didn't go to
Mm,
VAR. That was extremely. Like, I don't know why that didn't go to VAR. I don't know the rules behind it.
yeah,
And maybe the referee saw it and he didn't see it as clear and obvious or something. I don't know the rules, but one thing I do know is that he was being held. That's why he didn't get there. Do you know what I'm saying?
yes,
And other than
that's
that,
right.
all their corners were crap. They like their corners didn't even beat the first man. They had loads of corners. Saka got pocketed by Dallo. I think Martinelli was relatively, even though he threatened, he didn't really threaten. Like they didn't look like scoring really in it. And the thing is, they scored pretty much when everyone kind of thought it was 1-1. The game was over. I think everyone thought it was
Yeah,
going to be a draw, bro. They scored right at the end of the game. I don't
I feel
think,
yeah.
you know what I mean? I think that, bro, at the end of the day, yeah, if the game finishes 1-1, no one is saying, oh, like, Arsenal deserved to win the game. If anything, people might have looked at the goal that was disallowed from us and maybe say, "No, you know what? United were unlucky. They could have nicked it." I don't think there's an
hmm
argument before the second goal, yeah, that Arsenal deserved to win the game. I don't think there's an argument there. I think they got very fortunate because on another day, if that goal's given that we score, they don't win the game. They probably lose it. Do you know what I mean? And that's why I say it's fine margins in it. Like they got the rubber, the green on the day, but this notion that we got battered and we deserved to lose. It wasn't that. I think we defended well. I think that we played them well. We set up to hit them on a counter attack and it worked once and it nearly worked a few times. I think it's a very tactical game, but I think a draw would have been a fair result. I didn't say we deserved to win the game. If we would have won the game, if you're an Arsenal fan, you're thinking, oh, damn, we got sucker punched, didn't it? But we definitely didn't deserve to lose the game, in my opinion, on the way we played. I think a draw would have been a fair result, and no one's complaining if it's 1-1. Maybe United fans might complain that we should have had the goal that got disallowed. I'm not one of those because I thought it was offside in normal time. But the facts are, I don't think that we deserve to lose the game given the way we played. I thought we set up well, and we done well enough to get a point out of the game.
Nice. No, with context, this sounds much better and it makes a lot more sense. No, I think he did deserve to lose the game, and I think it was based on, because one factor is the flow of the game. So how did the game go and how was it dictated and who was the stronger team in these moments and did Arsenal create good chances? That's one factor. Another factor is decision making, because even though you can say up towards the second goal, up until then, there was no real argument that Arsenal deserved to win the game. And you could even argue Man United have more of a right to win the game. Well, now we're excluding the remaining minutes. So for me, I think if in the remaining minutes, you've got two centre-backs who consist of Harry Maguire and Johnny Evans, that's a problem for me. That's a huge problem. And that's why I think going into it, when I see Johnny Evans and Harry Maguire partnering, you deserve what you get, basically. And what I mean is you can complete 90% of the mission. If you fuck up on the final 10% of the mission because of something that you decided to do, then I think Erik ten Hag deserved to lose that game. And I think those players did, because I think Johnny Evans can look in the mirror and say, I am not this level no more. And then Harry Maguire as well. And fair dues, you have got injuries. But you're telling me the pulling power of United, the financial resources, even a loan, you're telling me you couldn't get someone on loan who was of a higher quality than Johnny Evans? I feel like there's something wrong there, and I don't understand that decision-making at all. And that's why I would say Arsenal deserve to, because if we're going to say it's fine margins, well, who was willing to go the extra mile? Who was willing to take that extra opportunity? The same way Gabriel Jesus took his opportunity really well. You know, he spanned low, sent him back to the shops, slotted the ball beautifully, by the way.
It's easy to do that when you're breaking away on a team, that is literally balls to the wall trying to get an equalizer at the end of the game, and we got caught. Do you know what I mean? Like, so when you take context out of it, cool. But in all context, Arsenal never got a chance like that in the game before.
I actually added more context though.
No, but I'm saying if we don't go 2-1 down, Jesus doesn't get the opportunity to score that third goal. That third goal only happens because we completely abandoned the way we were set up to try and get a game. And that also shows that Man United always felt like they could get at Arsenal. Because if we were under the cosh all game and we were getting battered and Arsenal were all over us, we would have probably accepted 2-1. But we didn't, because we always felt like we could get another one. And I think that's testament to the flow of the game. When you're playing against a team that's battering you all game and you go 2-1 down, you don't go all out attack for a second goal. You probably say, you know what, we're gonna shut up shop, guys, and we're just gonna keep it respectful. And I think the way that we attacked Arsenal when we went 2-1 down shows that we felt like we was in the game and we felt comfortable with the game, if that makes sense.
Mm-hmm. No, fair dues. No, that's fair, yeah. You know, it's a fun conversation. It was an interesting game, and hopefully you lose many more, because I like you being shit. It's really, really funny.
No, 100%.
Yeah, the next thing I was going to raise, man like Jadon Sancho, possibly one of the bigger flops in recent time. Now it's a big shame, because I like that dude and he's a great footballer, right? But you know, when you analyse that track record of like Dortmund, and he was late to Dortmund when he was at City, he was late there, and then obviously now he's getting questions about the training. I think he has a right to come out and speak about his and defend himself. I think that's what everyone's entitled to do. If in his perception he's training to a good level, fair play to the guy. But if it's not the manager's perception, then quite frankly, yours doesn't matter, because it's the manager who makes decisions. And I do think there's a track record there. The same way that if I'm constantly late for shows, there's going to be companies, there's going to be YouTubers who are like, actually, this James guy isn't really that reliable, and he's a bit of a twat when it comes to being on time. So we're not going to get him on the show no more. And I think Sancho is now falling into that pit of, he's lost that trust because of maybe micro decisions that the manager has encouraged him over time to get in there. Because I do think he's being defended by the manager. I think, you know, the break was delivered well by Ten Hag when it was originally that Sancho was going to have a break the first time round. And then I think this time round, he's just lost a little bit of composure. And I'm not saying it was right or wrong, the way Erik ten Hag done it, but I thought he was in his right. The same way I think Sancho was in his right. But I do think Sancho needs to maybe think about another journey somewhere else, because I think his drive for the game, based on testimony, based on managerial testimonies who come out and speak about the player, It doesn't sound like it's going to be able to be maintained at a top level. You know what I'm saying?
I don't know anything about the Man City stuff. The only thing I know about Man City is that they didn't want him to leave, and he chose to leave to get first team football. So I don't know anything about Man City saying anything about him.
That's fair. I could be wrong, to be fair,
Dortmund
but I'm sure that
also,
there was
I
situations.
know that he had an altercation at Dortmund because he wanted to leave and they told him he could leave, and then they weren't letting him leave. So I know that there was some sort of behind the scenes situations with him and people there. But in his early time at Dortmund, when he was happy to be there, I have not heard of any issues with Jadon Sancho. I heard of issues with Sancho in the last year because he stayed a year longer than he would have wanted to, because he always wanted to come back home and they didn't want to let him go. So I think there needs to be context there. Do you know what I mean? With the Dortmund thing, he was completely fine at Dortmund until the final season, where he was under the impression that he was going to be allowed to leave, and I believe they sold someone else. I think, who did they sell? Did they sell? They sold another player instead of him, and then he had to stay an extra year.
Yes.
So
I'm not too sure.
I'm not completely sure what player that was, but I think another player was sold, so he wasn't allowed to leave, and that didn't go down too well.
I feel yeah.
With him. So I think that situation again is completely separate to the situation we have here. But either way, it wasn't handled great. It wasn't handled great by the manager. I don't think it makes sense. I don't think it makes sense after losing a game to Arsenal where he's not in the squad to deflect away from the fact that we did finish the game with Johnny Evans and Harry Maguire on the pitch and ended up losing, to then throw a player under the bus, especially a player that's actually played well this season and also was our best attacker in pre-season. So I'm not really sure. And like people keep saying as well, Casemiro was recently asked who was the best in training, and he said Sancho. So
okay.
So if Casemiro is saying that Sancho is good in training, yeah, and this is a guy that's trained for Real Madrid and he's trained with very high level players, I don't believe this training thing. I genuinely believe that I believe him and his manager, the manager, have had an argument in it, and the manager's basically just said, "All right, cool. I don't like the way he's training," but I don't think it's that. I think they genuinely have had a falling out, and the manager's just used the training as an excuse. I don't believe the training thing is an excuse, because we know, yeah, in football, and I don't know if there's players like this at Liverpool, but at every club, there's always players, yeah, not saying Jadon is one of them, that aren't particularly like amazing trainers. Do you know what I mean? And they play well, and they still get picked, bruv. Like, some players are just not amazing trainers. Do you know what I mean? And you always hear it. And like, for instance, with Liverpool, they say, "Oh, who's the best trainer?" It's always bloody Milner. Do you know what I mean? It's always Milner or it's Henderson. It doesn't tend to be the most talented players that are the best in training. So this story that like, oh, he hasn't been training well, to me that doesn't make sense, especially when you think that who replaced him on the bench, because you're saying he's not training well, but you're telling me that he's not training well to the point that you're putting youth team players on the bench that can't make an impact in the game ahead of him. That doesn't make any sense. This seems personal to me, because for me, if I know as a manager, yeah, that every single game I lose, my job is on the line, yeah, and a player's not particularly training well, I still know if they can give me something, innit? And there's no way that the players on the bench could offer more than Sancho. There's no way. So for me, leaving him out, it's more than just he's not training well. Because then you can also look on the flip side and say, cool, well, players like Antony, players like Bruno, they don't play well most games, and they start every week. So if the benchmark is you have to be performing at a certain level, then the manager needs to be dropping some of these players, but he's not doing it. So I'm seeing a lot of inconsistencies in what he's saying, because there's a lot of Man United players right now that, based on how they've played all season, they don't deserve to start a game, regardless of how they're training, because they're not playing well. Like, we got battered by Wolves and won. Do you know what I'm saying? And then Nottingham Forest, we went 2-0 down. We got battered by Spurs. And then we've just gone and lost to Arsenal. So if it's about performance levels, then he needs to make a lot more changes to the starting lineup.
So then now we've got a big problem with the manager, don't we? Now we've got a Ten Hag issue. If everything you've just claimed there, is more accurate than the idea that I gave based on some of the things I've
It's
seen.
blatant favoritism, and I think everyone knows that. Do you know what I mean? I think
So now he's
everyone
got a
knows.
man management problem because you said that
Oh,
he
for
handled the
sure.
problem wrong. So he's
Oh
got
yeah,
a man
yeah.
management problem.
That's a big man management problem.
He's got an identity problem when it comes to talent ID in certain areas, especially it seems to be the big signings. You know what I'm saying? It doesn't seem to elevate it to league title,
Especially in attack.
Yes. No, I feel you. And again, just that decision making on a regular basis, like you say, persistent with certain players who aren't performing at a certain level. So now that's contradictory. So you've got a contradictory, indecisive, poor man manager. That's a big problem. But
also tactically in the big games, he's got a lot of things wrong as well. We lost 7-0 to you lot, and he had Bruno Fernandes on the left wing, bro. Like, do you know what I mean? Like, people wanna try paper over these things. You know, like imagine if you're a Sancho, or even if you're a Garnacho, or even if you're a Pelistri, or even if you're Ahmad, yeah, we're losing 7-0 to Liverpool and we're seeing Bruno on the wing offering nothing. Imagine if you're a winger and you're seeing Bruno Fernandes on the wing ahead of you. You're looking at people like, hold on, what is this? Like, you know what I mean? You're trying to tell me I can't get in ahead of a guy that can't even play on the wing. Like, like it's crazy, isn't it? Like when I look at Manchester United, it looks like the environment in general, yeah, is just, it's not good, bro. Do you know what I'm saying? Like, it's not good. Like, amongst the players, amongst the manager, something is off. Something is off. And in the dressing room, one thing as players, like we saw, like people keep mentioning, did you watch the all or nothing thing with Tottenham when Danny Rose confronted Jose about his lack of playing? And players know when players are playing crap, James. You know what I'm saying? And he went to the changing room, he went to the office and he said, listen, like, I deserve to be playing. Like, you can say that I'm not playing well, but I'm not playing worse than these guys. Do you know what I mean? And how do you expect me, to build up some consistency and a run of form if you put me in for one game, then I'm out for 6? And then if you're someone like Sancho, who's actually had a very good preseason and actually came off the bench against Wolves with Eriksen and changed the game, and it's like, all right, cool. But then you're just going to persist playing with Antony, who keeps on dropping 1s and 2s out of 10. You're not going to give me a go. Garnacho even can feel aggrieved because he started the first 2 games of the season. He was awful, yeah? But then he got dropped straight away. Yeah. Straight away. Whereas Antony can play rubbish for 8 games, 9 games and not get dropped. So
that's
even
interesting to me.
Even if you're Garnacho, yeah, you're looking at it saying, hold on, I've come off the bench, I scored a goal and that. Fair enough, I've played rubbish a couple games, but give me 3 or 4 more. Because Antony's playing rubbish and he's playing 8, 9 games in a row.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Look, he's saying that Garnacho's brother was tweeting about the same thing. Well, there you go. And I'm not even Garnacho's biggest fan. But the facts are, yeah, he's done more, yeah. He's done more. He's made more of an impact, yeah, in games than Antony. If they're both starting, they're probably both as bad as each other. And when you think that Garnacho's only 19 or something, like, I'm more likely to give him the benefit of the doubt, even though he's well less experienced than Antony. But my thing is, if you're going to let other players play themselves into form, then you have to keep the same energy with everyone else. But our manager doesn't do that. And this is what the biggest problem is. Like, when you look at our team as well, Wan-Bissaka just managed to play his way back into the team somehow. We thought he was gone. Dalot was our right back. And then all of a sudden, Wan-Bissaka's playing every week again, like out of nowhere. Like when did we change the way we were going to decide to play football? 1 minute we were going to play progressive football with an attacking fullback, and now Wan-Bissaka's our first choice right back again. Like, how? Do you know what I mean? Like, bro, there's too many things that's going on that I don't understand, bro. Like, I just don't get it. I don't get it, and that's the problem. Like, I would rather a manager says, listen, this is how we're going to play.
Yep.
Like, I'm sticking to it. Do you know what I mean? And then, boy, if it works, it works. If it doesn't, it doesn't. But go out on your shield, like, do you know what I mean? But it's like, he's just doing some weird things.
Nah, no, I'm on to you. Yeah. It sounds really, really, really weird at your club, and it just always does. And it's so boss because, like, even though we've been shit as well, it's always nicer when someone else is in the shit with you. You know what I mean? And we haven't been in the shit the way you've been in the shit over the past 5 to 6, 7 years. So I'd say that it's encouraging because now I'm feeling more confident day by day. You're one less team that I need to worry about in my title charge. Do you get what I'm saying? Do you get what I'm saying, broski?
No, bro, I hear you. Listen, you lot, But I even said it. Remember, I said it on the show. I said that you lot are dark horses. If you sort out the
We're
midfield,
gonna win the fucking league. We're gonna win the fucking
if you sort
league.
out the midfield, you man are dangerous. You know,
We're
like
gonna
that.
fucking win the league. We've got the Hungarians. We've got the Hungarian Gerard, by the way. Do you rate Sobo yet? Do you rate him
Hey,
like that yet?
Sobo, hey, yo, he's good, innit? He's good. You know what I mean? He
guy,
definitely slapped the ball into the floor for the goal, but you know what? It was a good goal though. Do you know what I mean? Like, bro, you gotta play the lottery to win it, innit?
Facts, bro. And you know that he's got that sweet spot. He knows to find the sweet spot on the ball, and I love that
No,
about
he
him.
strikes the ball extremely well.
Brilliant. And he's both-footed. He's not even a left footer, you know what I mean? He's both-footed.
Yeah.
Like, he's so good that he's got people talking about his size 7 feet, broski. Do you know what I'm saying? Like, one, pathetic journalism. Second of all, amazing. We're now trying to find excuses why he's good. It's like scientific research declares that if you have small feet, you're better at football, which actually makes a lot of sense. You know what I mean?
Of course it does. It absolutely does. They said the same thing about Michael Owen. Do you know what I mean? But it is what it is, innit? It's just one of them things, man. Like, he's a good player. He's a good
With his
player,
little size threes, the little mank twat. Nah,
Hey, bro, hey, that's your legend, not ours, mate. Do you know what I mean?
Hey, you want a Premier League with you? Behave yourself.
But he's still your legend, mate. Do you know what I mean? We never accepted Michael Owen at United. Like, even though he'll always be a Scouser, man. We never accepted him. You know what I mean? So,
Now let's not loosely use the word Scouser, okay? You don't call someone from Birkenhead a Scouser. You call them a wool, and very rightly so, because they are a wool. They are from Birkenhead, and they try and claim to be Scousers, and they try and sound like me, but they sound stupid as fuck when they do it. Michael Owen is one of those dudes. That's what we need to establish. You know what I mean? No, Szoboszlai is nice. I like him. I'm encouraged by the signing. He was the one player that got me off my seat and said, if we're going to do shit this season, that dude's going to be a big reason because of it. And like, I've put all my stocks into that dude right there. And I do think he is going to prove himself to be one of the more influential players in the league. And I think he's going to put in an argument to be our best player. And I think so far, he's done just that. I really do. I think in the first 4 games, if you think about peer performance, I think he's definitely got a right to be in the top conversations. You get what I'm saying? You can put Salah in there just with the fact he's contributed as well. But the way he ticks over the game, the close ball control, quick decision making, that burst of pace that he's got as well, which is very deceiving with the fact he's quite tall. You know what I'm saying? He's a nice player. And the way that we're playing right now, it's not like even fully encouraging. But in the league winning season that we won the league, I'm not saying it's going to be like that, but I'm saying that we never played well every game that year. If you actually remember, we were winning games 2-1, 2-0. It was narrow, and it weren't super. We were good. We were better defensively than what we are now, so that needs to be established. But I think even systematically, we've made differences to the system, which is now to the team. Sorry, that is now making a difference overall, because we're seeing the high line being sort of dropped back a little bit more, and it's more compact than usual. It's still transitioning to the 3 with the 2 6s, but I don't know. With Gomez and Matip, they look fine. I think it was mainly due to Aston Villa not really coming at us and creating any productive chances. I don't think they created anything to be too fearful of. But to go out of the first 4 games, drawing against Chelsea, which, although they're dead, it's still one of those away from home, anything can happen. New manager bounce. And then to win the next 3 games, yes, with a slice of luck, but 2 games convincingly. That's amazing. And they're the games that you need to win, and they're the games we weren't winning last season. So
your goalkeeper has also started the season very well, man. He's made some big saves for you lot, man.
He's my fucking dude, bro. He is my guy. I love that man right there. Like, do you know him? Yeah, he is the true standard of a world-class goalkeeper who's good in every fucking department. He is boss. He is an amazing, amazing guy. And I do think he's the best goalie in the world currently.
I don't think that. Who are you gonna say is better than him at the moment? To be honest,
that's it. And even over the past couple of years, Rants, you know what I'm saying? That guy is he saved us so much. And when you think about the one-on-ones and whatnot, he's unbelievable. And he's made a mistake before. You know what the Brazilians are like? They can do it every once in a while, but what goalkeeper doesn't? That shot against Almiron, bro, like
ridiculous.
I just don't even if that goes in, people are saying no one's saving that. Do you get what I'm saying? Like one of those.
He had no right. He had no right.
I thought he broke his hand when he saved it, so I was like, "Fair play." Like, yeah, now he's fucked.
He had no right.
Facts. But in all seriousness, final point, I am still a bit skeptical because we have got Konate injured at the moment, and Virgil van Dijk's got a red card, so I think he's out for the game or 2 more. Even though that's not a long-term worry, it is a worry that already 2 of our main centre-backs are out, even if it is only for a short period of time, but it was something that was anticipating, and we never went and got anybody who can accommodate them. But that's a club choice. And if your choice is to use Gomez and Matip, you've got to suffer the consequences if it goes against you. And so far, we haven't been bit in the toe for it. So happy days, mate.
Yeah, man. I don't know. From seeing you lot, it's like you're getting the results, but you're a long way away from the fluid attacking football that you were playing a few years ago. Do you know what I mean? So
Yeah.
it'd be interesting to see how you guys play when you're actually under the cosh and teams are actually putting it on you, how you defend, because defensively you look vulnerable in it. So it's one of them things where I think it depends on how you deal with the pressure is what's going to tell me where you guys are going to finish and what you're going to do. But in attacking areas, you look extremely dangerous. Like Nunez looked dangerous in the last game. I know he didn't score, but he's confident in it, and he's very much a confidence player. Like when he's not confident, he looks horrible. Yeah, but when he's confident, he's shooting from anywhere. Like he's chasing like lost causes. Like he's doing all that, and he was an absolute handful in the last game. Even though
He's
he
a
didn't
chance
bag,
magnet, bro.
yeah, he hit the bar and the post, and he was just literally like a dog with a bone in it. And it's like if you can keep him confident and the manager can use him the right way, then he's gonna be a handful, man.
Yeah, I mean, I still have me things. It's not that I'm trying to hold on to a thing with Nunez or not, and I've just always had me things about the ability. And okay, he's a chance magnet, but now what's his chance conversion saying? And I haven't really been encouraged on that by so far. So you know, my theory, I agree with my theory more. I think my theory proves to be true as of right now as we speak. I don't think the theory of Nunez being a regular starter in a league like the Premier League has proven
I don't think he's
working.
a regular starter for Liverpool. I don't think he's good enough to be a regular starter for Liverpool. I think
That's
he's a player that plays for a club that play consistently, probably on the counter attack, similar to what Lukaku done at Everton, and he'll score goals for a team like that. Do you know what I mean? But for a team like Liverpool, you need to have a bit more in your locker just than chasing lost causes. Do you know what I mean? Like, you end up being like what's his name at Aston Villa? The striker, what's his name? The left-footed guy. Not Danny Ings, what's his name? The black guy with the fucking plaits. What's his name?
Is his name Duran or something, or Duran?
Nah, bro. Like, what's his name?
Archer.
The English spread, the striker, Ollie Watkins, like that.
You want about the main striker? I thought you meant like a bench player.
Yeah, Ollie Watkins, bro. Just like Ollie Watkins, just tall and just chases things. Like, do you know what I mean? That's just what he reminds me of, that kind of player, innit? Like that level of team. Like, not for Liverpool. You know what I mean? Like, not for Liverpool main guy. Like, no. Do you know what I mean? But
that's it. That's also it. And I also think the theory of, I recommended in the summer, he'll be a great bench option. A great bench option. People were like, James, don't hate on him.
Impact player, because he's direct and he's quick.
He's a game changer and he's weird. He just gets involved, does a bunch of shit that no one wants to deal with. And that's why he's a headache. And to bring him on with 40 minutes to go, 30 minutes to go, when people are gassing a little bit, it's productive. And I think we saw that against Newcastle. He had that bit of more explosion, which was what made him able to capitalise on that first mistake they made. It's because of that explosiveness that he has. And then the second goal as well. I mean, also, do you know when Darwin isn't thinking about his chances, he hits that ball lovely sometimes, but you know when he's there,
too much time, he's horrible.
Horrible, bro, horrible. Like there's just finite things if that dude could fix. Oh, bro, he's not only a Liverpool like superstar, he's a Premier League superstar. He's got the sort of the name, the appearance, the way he plays. It's literally perfect for superstardom, but the only thing is now he needs to convert those chances. That dude will be a superstar if he guarantees numbers, and I suppose there's elements to where he could. I mean, I just need to see. I think I'll have a better decision with Nunez in January about if it works out for us or not in the way that I want it to. Because my question was always, is he going to be good enough to be a league-winning striker? Possibly he could be. He could be, but that's going to be in the need of Klopp to assist them, bring them forward into a team that are going to create a buttload of chances, because he's not a natural finisher. This is what people need to understand. They need to understand the difference of someone who's a chance magnet and a natural finisher.
Yeah, like if he gets in the right positions, but he's not.
That connection,
a finisher,
it's the end product. It's the final piece of the puzzle. Do you get what I'm saying? Everything else building up to that, you look like a world-class striker. But when it comes to the conversion, that's a problem. So that's why I'd sit there and still have my questions. But he's doing what he needs to do to prove people wrong. If you're scoring goals, you're getting chances, and you're putting yourself in that first team, good on you. That's what you should be doing. And if we're winning games, I don't care.
Yeah, I think that a lot of the qualities that he shows, yeah, lends more to him probably operating from the wide areas as well, because he's not someone that comes short. He's not someone that's going to necessarily bring other people into the game, but he's very good when the ball's played in front of him and in behind other teams, isn't it? Very similar to how Man United have to use Rashford if they're going to get anything out of it, because like we saw against Arsenal, when you play the ball in front of him, when he's got grass to run into, that's the only time he's effective. When you play it into his feet and he's got loads of time, most of the time he'll make the wrong decision, innit? And I think that using someone like Nunez the correct way is going to be the key to getting the most out of him. And it probably is as an impact player. Probably.
I feel, yeah. I feel. Why is people in the chat mentioning Antony, by the way? Are they just talking about him?
No, something's come out. Apparently, they're saying a third woman's come out now accusing him of like, I don't know what exactly, but either like assault or something like that. He's in trouble, man.
Yeah. I'm staying away from those conversations because I'm not a lawyer. I don't know the ins and outs. I don't know the intricacies. But it's long for Man United, bro, because they've had that situation with Mason Greenwood. Antony's now having all this shit. The
The thing is,
manager's
Mason's
causing
gone out
issues.
to Getafe, yeah, and he's getting the royal treatment. And there's videos of him coming out in training. He looks sharp. I told you guys, you see when the video came out and people were saying it was Greenwood and he looks rusty and all this rubbish, yeah? Like, I wouldn't even be surprised if that video wasn't him that was going around on Twitter. Like, I seen this guy, yeah, in training Getafe, yeah, doing step overs and slapping the ball in the top corner. And I'm thinking, yo, this is long, you know. And he looks mad lean as well. Like, he's a
Yeah.
kid, man. He's in that phase of his life where he can eat McDonald's every day and not put on no weight. Like, he just looks
Yeah.
lean and he's just slapping goals in it. So it's one of them things where he's going to score a lot of goals in Spain. So it's one of them things where, like, it looks like he is onto a new chapter of his life. Do you know what I mean? His missus was there watching him. He was smiling like you ain't seen him smile in ages. Like in Manchester at the time, he's walking around with balaclavas on, and now he's over there smiling, enjoying his football. Antony, however, looks like he's mudded, bro. And I mean, Man United ain't in a great place right now because the manager's falling out with Jaden, and now his favorite guy, the people they're calling his son, yeah, looks like he could get charged. Do you know what I mean? It's like, it's not looking good, man. Do you know what I mean? It is not looking good right now, man. There's just a lot of unrest going on at the club. Not to
Yeah.
mention the stuff going on with the ownership. Do you know what I mean? The Glazers coming out saying that now they want 10 billion and all of this. Them man are doing silly buggers. Do you know what I mean? It's like the whole thing it's a circus, man.
No, it is weird. No, it's weird. And you know what? Like, I'll be honest, right? I like seeing teams playing bad, and I don't mind just dropping points. I don't think that's what I care about. It's a bit shit when like you've got all this stuff getting involved. You know what I mean? Just constant conversations that aren't about on the pitch stuff. And I know that you're being too fucking naive if you're just expecting a perfect world where nothing goes wrong or anything. These things happen, and you can choose whether or not to separate them out of your conversation. But it's just annoying because, you know, people then start talking about shit that isn't the game, and I'm like, I'm just trying to talk about the game. You know what I'm saying? I'm just trying to talk about the game. It's like now if I even say Greenwood's a good talent, it's like, well, why are you saying he's good? It's like,
But
well,
this is the
what
problem,
about the
James. And
football?
then people start doing that. Do you know what I mean? And then it's like, what? So we can't have an objective conversation anymore.
That's it.
You know,
The
like
way it
that.
should go is based on the research you've conducted on the matter and based on the research I've done. We've now got to sit there and analyze the probability and the sides of it. So, does the evidence suggest that Greenwood has done this thing? Okay, evidence suggests yes, if it's credible enough for you. But it's still not 100% proof, the same way you can't really 100% prove anything. But it's evidence. And that's why you should be able to sit there and choose, well, actually, I'm not a big fan of Greenwood playing no more. Like, I don't think it's a good idea. Or you sit there and say, well, actually, I haven't found, based on the research I've done, enough evidence to suggest that he did anything wrong. But I do think if he did do something wrong, he deserves a second chance anyway. Like you say, he's a kid. The girlfriend forgave him.
Yeah,
for what it sounded
100%.
like on the voice notes and stuff
Yeah,
like that.
yeah, for sure.
Which it's a thing that they've resolved. Antony, I don't have a clue how that one's gonna go because I haven't looked into it at all. And it's just such a common thing now. Like these stories are popping out all the time.
Yeah, because unfortunately, yeah, at the end of the day, the reason why these things are gonna become more public now, yeah, is because no matter how this sounds, yeah, there's something to be gained from the
Yep.
situation now. Because before social media, these things would never come out because there was nothing to be gained from it. Do you know what I'm saying? Like, rightly or wrongly, people now know, yeah, that they can ruin someone's life, yeah, via social media, whereas that wasn't a thing before. So, whatever the reasons were, whether he done it or he didn't do it, yeah, assuming he did do it, it didn't happen yesterday. So why is it coming out now? Do you know what I'm saying? And this is just what it is, bro. Like it's a weird thing. I'm not saying that they should be. I'm not saying that there should be an expiry date on inquiries and stuff like that. But it's like if you was in a relationship with somebody, yeah, and then you lot are in a violent relationship, because most of the time the physicality is both ways. Like most of the cases when you see guys and girls are getting into violent things, it's usually that they're hitting each other in it.
No,
Like
it's a
it's not.
mutual thing a lot
Yeah,
of the
it's
time,
not
man.
usually
That's
like
actually
he's.
statistical as well, by
Yeah,
the way.
it is.
That's a
It's
statistical thing.
statistics. It's not my opinion. Do you know what I
Yeah.
mean? Statistically, they're both putting hands on each other in it, but obviously one is deemed more severe than the other for obvious reasons because we're not the same.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? But the point is, if you're in a relationship where you're both being physically violent towards each other, and then for
Yeah.
argument's sake, 6 months later, you then decide to go to the news when you're not with him anymore, and he's got another girlfriend, and saying, "Oh yeah, well this is what he done to me 6 months ago." Yeah, it's not great, is it? Do you know what I'm saying?
It's tough. Oh no, it's tough as fuck.
It's
But
tough.
I also know that the modern day people are like the dumb. You know what I mean? And our reasoning can be out of line. So now we don't analyze the girl's reasoning for making it brought up. Now the thing we need to analyze is what's the probability that this thing happens,
That's it.
and then go with it based off of what you know.
And
Do
with
you
the
get what I'm
probability,
saying?
it's not looking good, bro. I'll be real. It's not looking
Well,
good.
do
It's
you know
not
what? It
looking
is
good.
tough. Do you know why it's tough? Because it can be a domino effect. One person's come out, another person sat there, and this is just a possibility. I'm not saying this has happened, but then another girl now sits there and goes, "Actually, I've had interactions with this dude, and I'll be honest, like he grabbed me wrists a little bit hard, so now I'm going to go in." And it's a perception thing. It's like, okay, then I see that he was horrible to this person. Now you can even create a feeling in your mind, like, actually, I felt a bit weird that day. In fact,
Yeah.
actually, no, that was
It's
weird. That was
that.
weird. That was weird.
It's
Do
that.
you get what I'm saying? It's like now you believe you've got, or he's actually done these horrible things that are being suggested, and people who don't know each other, this is where it's tough because you're getting testimony, eyewitness testimony directly of people who don't know each other, who are coming out and saying, "I've had interactions with this guy and he's done this wrong." You know, I think you just mentioned it was the third person, so it's
Yeah, they're
balanced.
saying
So
it's the third person coming out now, but do you know what I mean? But the thing is, yeah, it's like it's a tough situation because I can see
tough,
both sides. Because I can
tough.
see the side of he plays for my team, and it's like he's definitely a hothead. Like other players on other teams even try and wind him up because they know that he can be got at. Do you know what I mean? Like most of the time, there's altercations on the pitch. He's involved in it, so he's very clearly a hothead. So in that sense, I I don't see that he didn't do these things in it. He might not have done all of them, but he's
Yeah,
done something in it because I can't
yeah,
see from just what he's shown me. Yeah, because when you're playing professional football, you know that you're playing in front of millions of people on television and also people in the stands. So if you can't control
yeah,
your temper there, when you're alone in a hotel room, yeah,
yeah. You're
how am I
fucked.
supposed to trust you to control your temper
Yeah,
there?
you're fucked.
Do you
No,
know?
you're
Do
right.
you know what I mean?
That's a good way
So
that you've just looked at it. That was
yeah,
very objective view of looking at it, and I
yeah,
respect it because what you've
yeah.
done there, because people will say like, "Oh, this, that, and the other." What you've done there, you've analysed the evidence and the probability of what side it could lean on, and you've realised, well, there's possibilities of both, and I don't know the detail to a degree that I can say for certainty. It's highly likely that he's done this shit. But then you've also said, well, there is evidence that suggests that he's done something. It might not be worst case scenario, which is what everyone jumps to, isn't it? It's like whatever side you're on, speak with the knowledge that you've got, and don't say anything with certainty when it comes to this shit because I just
Hundred
don't think it's fair.
percent. Do you know what I
And
mean?
just
And then
choose
on
to
the
stay
flip
away from
side,
it. If you don't like
that's it.
Greenwood playing, don't watch Greenwood playing. Don't tune
Don't
in.
watch it.
That's fine. Don't follow him on
That's
Instagram.
it.
Don't see what he's up to. Don't go on Twitter. If you don't, this is one gripe that I've got with not just our generation, because even like the generation above me do it as well. And like I always think it was the generation above me that brought us up, so I blame them to a degree. You know what I mean? I'm thinking like, even though we're scumbags, it's like you've just done us in. So like, it's interesting because people go on there and they see a bunch of shit that makes them angry. Why do you constantly walk into a room that's making you angry?
Yeah,
Like, do you know
going and
why I stay
winding
away
yourself
from?
up.
Bro, do you know why I stay away from Twitter at times? Because it fucking makes me. I'm seeing
Me
shit
too.
that like
I haven't
I
logged in for
disagree with that,
ages.
disagree with that, disagree with it, and I
Yeah.
don't want to become that person who's going to sit there and just dreading the idea like the world shit, this, that, and the other. No, just keep focusing on the stuff that
Yeah,
you
but
were
that's
doing
why I don't
anyway.
watch the news, because I'm like, there's nothing. I never see anything positive on there, so why would I watch it?
Yeah, now, that's by design though as well. When you think
Well,
about
of
the
course
news,
it is, but that's
why
why
are they
I
going to
don't.
give you free telly? You get what I'm saying?
But that's why I
Free
don't
telly.
watch it, bro. Because it's like there's nothing positive that I'm gonna get from the news. I've never got good news from there ever in my life. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So why would I watch it? Like everything's always negative. It's always scaremongering. It's always this. I remember
Fact.
when that monkey pox thing came out for like 2 days and everyone thought that something was, and then it disappeared again. Like the news is just trash. So I don't watch it. You know what I mean? And it's just one of them things where with this situation, I can see reasons why I believe that there's no smoke without fire, and he's definitely been involved in some madness.
Fact.
And then you can also, yeah, without trying to take away from the severity of what he's done, you can then look at it from another angle and say, all right, cool. So if this happened in January, like they're saying, that was 9 months ago. So how come we're only hearing about this now? Do you know what I mean?
That's it.
So it's just one of them. It's not great, bruv. Like, do you know what I mean? And multiple things can be true. That's the thing about life, innit? Like,
Yep.
like there's a lot of nuanced things. Like, two things can be true at the same time. Like, it's not it's this or it's that. But at the moment, we live in a society now where you can get in trouble retrospectively, yeah, for things that you've done in the past, whether it's
Yes.
6 weeks ago, 6 months ago, or 6 years ago. Because someone might wake up in the morning and just feel like, you know what? I didn't like the way this happened 6 years ago.
Yeah.
You know, and that, to me, that's the only thing about this situation, yeah, where I might think, this isn't great. You know, like that. Because we're not talking about something that happened last night or last weekend. They're saying it was 9 months ago.
Yeah.
And now they're
It is.
saying a third person's now come out saying, oh, well, I didn't like what my man did, like, this time.
It's possible
on,
that
man.
it's just a headless person, you know what I mean, who's just creating something out of nothing. It's also probable that the dude's just crazy. And because I don't know, that's why I'll sit right in the middle of them.
Listen, I am of the belief that he's a hothead, yeah, and
Yeah.
he's a loose cannon, innit? Like that's from what I've seen of his
Yeah.
how he carries himself. Like he gets into altercations every game. It's not like
Yeah.
it's like a one-off, and he
Do you know what I have a
loses his head
problem with,
every
Dick?
week.
What I have a problem with is when if somebody robs a bank and somebody in the bank happened to have died while the bank robbery was happening. I now have a problem if you're calling that robber a murderer because
Yeah.
never directly caused the murder. Do you get what I'm saying? Like a person died, it just so happened to be while he was committing the crime.
Yeah.
People will now go to these footballers and be like, it's worst case scenario. He's done it to all of them. It's like, no, you need to analyze each individual case. You need to understand the context around it. When did the girl speak about it? Was there any reasons why she might have not spoke about it? Some
And
of
is
these
there any
footballers are very well
evidence?
known. You get what
Or
I'm
is it
saying?
just
Like,
her word against his? Do you know what I mean?
exactly. But or was it fear out of, I don't know, Antony's a big dude in Brazil. I'm sure he knows people. Do you get what I'm saying? He probably does.
Yeah.
She might not want to get in trouble with him. So that's got to be all discussed internally. And until the information is on the forefront, I don't think it's fair to call someone X, Y, and Z. And then if you're on the stance of protecting Antony, based on the research that you've done, fine. But don't say he's 100% innocent on that case. Talk about his football. Talk about what matters because you don't know what's going on. And I take a lot of education out of being uneducated. As long as I know I'm uneducated in a certain topic, I can take education out of that. You get what I'm saying? I'm like, I at least know I'm not meant to be in this field.
No, bro, I hear you. Do you know what I mean? Man said it's guilty till proven innocent. Well, bro, listen, but that's what happens when it's the jury of social media now, is that. Do you know what I'm saying? It is that. But when you're a public figure as well, and people see how you are publicly, they feel like they know more than they know, innit? Like that's inherently just the society we live in now. Like a lot of people, Like a lot of people might watch me and James on YouTube every single day. They'll see us on the road and they'll feel like they know us because they interact with us every day. But
Yeah.
I don't know you. You know, like that. Like, bro, it's one of them ones. Like I had an instance in the gym, I think yesterday, where this brother seen me, yeah, and he knows who I am in it, but I don't know him. And like the way like his facial expressions changed and he kind of smiled and nodded at me. And at first I'm in the zone, I'm listening to my music and I've looked.
Yeah, and I was like, that's me guy, but like you don't
Yeah.
know who he is.
And then I've seen my man's like saluted me and that, like and kind of like smiled and that. And at first it took me half a second to realize that man was saluting me. First I was thinking, what's
Yeah.
this bro looking at? Do you know what I'm saying? you know, because I'm in between sets. I got my headphones on. I'm just in the zone, and then I see a brother like in my peripheral, like just looking. You know when you can feel someone looking at you. And I was thinking, bro, like, what's this guy? And then I was like,
Full
oh yeah,
survival instincts kicked in. You get what I'm saying?
that's
was
it,
like, wait, what?
brother. And then I held him up, but for a split second, I was thinking, who's this guy? You know what I mean? And this is what it is. Like if people see you on TV. You know what I'm saying? Like, and man's watching you play football every week. You're showing us
Yeah.
a side of you. So a lot of people are gonna feel like, yo, man knows his temperament now because you've shown me enough when you're kicking players in the ankles when the ball's not there, when you're pushing people off the pitch, when you're doing all these other things. Yeah, you're showing us a side of you that doesn't lend very well. Yeah, to now the allegations have come up.
That's right.
Because now from what you've shown me, I'm like, well, boy, he's looking kind of guilty. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, it's a tough one, isn't it? It's a tough one.
That's just how it is. Like, I can't defend a man when I'm seeing him kicking people and that when like the ball's out of play and stuff. Like,
it's like when
I mean?
it's like if you take like your kid's being kicked out of 3 schools, you take your kid into a new school, you say he's fine, he's fine, he's fine. You turn around and he's there bullying one of the kids in this new school already. It's like, well, that's not a good precedent, innit? You've just said he's a good kid and he's already picking on one of the students at this school who's been here for a while. What the fuck's going on? No, you're right. Image is everything. The way you represent yourself is everything. It's why that, like, you know, when people do lose their heads on in football games and whatnot, although I understand it, I think some people are more capable of not more capable, are more able to do that than others. I think there's some people who meet the standards and they lose the rag, and you'd understand why they lose the rag. But now you are still a crazy person because you lose your rag. You know what I mean?
No, 100%. Because like I said in the show before, there's a difference between aggressive players like Casemiro, where it always looks like controlled aggression, like he puts himself about, he's physical, but he's not violent. Do you know what I mean? And then you have players, where it looks like their head's gone, and you're saying to the manager, take him off, he's going to get a red card. Do you know what I'm saying? Like Rooney was kind of like that. Like when Rooney lost his head, like he'll run the length of the pitch to kick someone in. Do you know what I mean? And that, when you see that, that's someone
was controlled aggression. Because you know with the studs, you know that he was controlled aggression because he was like, he would even plan and premeditate before games. I'm going to wear studs this size. And like, he was someone who like, I am going to nail your ass. He was crazy, Rooney lad. But it was more controlled. It just looked out of control because that was the intention.
Yeah, no, it was definitely the intent, but there were some times where you could see that his head was gone. Like, and even Sir Ferguson used to say that he played better, when he was angry. Like, Sir Ferguson used to wind him up on purpose because he knew that Rooney played better when he'd lost it. Do you know what I mean? And it's just, it's one of them ones, it gave him more aggression, but also it meant that he would slide in for a challenge like 10 yards away. Like, do you know what I mean? And luckily he never really hurt anyone, but he had the capability to lose it. Do you know what I'm saying? And when you see those kind of things, people start to paint pictures of your character off the back of that. And that is the problem. That is the problem that Antony now faces, because now people are seeing how he is on the pitch, and then the allegations have come out. Now other people are jumping rightly or wrongly on the bandwagon. It's like, boy, he looks like he's in a lot of trouble.
Yeah. Like, the main thing I talk about there is just how you get to your conclusion. And if you've done no evidence and your evidence has been simply through research on Twitter, just don't speak on it. That's all. I'm just telling you, just don't be dumb and speak on something that you don't know what's going on. Do you get what I'm saying? Or at least make it clear that the information, your opinion is based on the information that you know, and that you'd be willing to change your mind if, information changed or new information came out. Because it's a weird world that we live in, broski, you know what I mean? And it seems to be like this one side where it's like, you know, people will go on and defend Greenwood with no education on what's actually happened. They'll just be like, nothing's happened, nothing bad, like even directed that Greenwood did anything wrong. It's like, no, it did. In fact, it was really clear evidence that it didn't sound good. You know what I mean? But
it didn't sound good. But with the Greenwood case, it's like a lot of people don't actually understand what he was charged with, what he wasn't charged
then you've
with.
got people who go the other way, and then they say it's definitively this 100%.
Exactly,
like, no,
and then man keep going out of there. Man keep going around and saying, "Oh, you're defending someone that's a whatever." Like, do you know what I mean? When he was never charged of, he was never charged for the R. He was never charged for that. What he was arrested for, yeah, was when he put hands on her and he hit her, yeah, and he was arrested for that, and he was charged with that. Do you know what I'm saying? Like the other stuff, he wasn't charged for because he said, she said he didn't do that. Do you know what I'm saying? So he got arrested for threatening. He didn't get arrested for doing it. Do you know what I'm saying? So people like to kind of, you know what I'm saying, put 2 and 2 together and get 22, brother, and it's not that.
That's why words are important, isn't it? You know what I mean?
Like, that's why words are important. Do you know what I'm saying? Like attempted, that based on what the voice note they heard. So they're saying attempted, but they never said he did that. It was a threat that he made. It's just like if I'm on a voice note, and I say, yo, listen, like what? I'm going to kill you or something like that,
Yeah.
And then man say, oh yeah, attempted murder or something. But it's like, bro, you know what I'm saying? Like, what do you mean attempted, bro? Like, man didn't bust no shots. Man didn't do anything. Do you know what I mean? So they might say, we might say I had a motive to do it, but nobody died, B. Do you know what I'm saying? And I didn't try and kill someone.
Yeah, because I just don't like
you don't become a murderer when you threaten to kill someone.
Yeah. I like to hold the belief that, you know, treat others how you'd want to be treated. And if I did something wrong, I would want to be called what I am. If I robbed a bank, you may call me a thief. You know what I'm saying?
If man are running around saying, oh, Greenwood's a woman beater, you can't argue that because we know that he done that.
Yeah,
you know, like that. You can't argue it because you know he hit her. Do you know what I mean? So even if it was only once or if it was 5 times, we know he done that and he got arrested for it. So if that's what we're gonna call, man, then call him that. But I've never seen any footballer lose their job for doing that. Do you know what I'm saying? I've never seen it because there's been loads of footballers that have done that. You know, Ryan Giggs is one of them. So it's one of them ones. The Antony one looks crazy. Do you know what I'm saying? It looks very crazy. Do you know what I mean? Because now it's multiple people. So it's not one person. They're saying it's 3 people. That on itself is crazy. Do you know what I mean? Wild. And this is why I don't know how he survives this, bro. Because even if he's under investigation, I can't see how he continues to play when he's under investigation. Because when they were investigating Mendy, he couldn't play.
Bro, everyone's just lost. Like, no one knows how to sustain a fucking relationship no more. And lad, everyone's just dead angry. Honestly, you see it all the time. Like, if I go out, I don't go out much no more, innit? But if I go out and I go to town, for instance, Liverpool is tiny. Town is a small place. Clubs are right next to each other. You're just seeing people as far as the eye can see, and everybody knows everybody. And the energy when you're there, broski, it's like everyone just wants to punch each other's heads in. It's like they've just watched the full series of Power throughout the night, listened to nothing but drill in the morning, and then came out with an intention to want to punch people's heads in. I'm just thinking to myself, like, stop holding this egotistical complex that everyone seems to have, and everybody's got this agenda, and they twist it into like proper crazy aggression, and it translates into toxic relationships, toxic friendships, inability to work at a maximum capacity. You know what I'm saying? And the generation's going down the drain, bro. Like I can fucking go into conversations.
It's just society, innit? It's just society in general, bro.
Societal problem.
Like everything's getting magnified. Do you know what I mean? And the thing is, all it is social media is just showing you stuff that's always gone on. Do you know what I mean? Like nothing.
Poochers, though. This is our problem as a country. We're pamper poochers. We're all. We don't know real bad things. Like we know bad things, okay. Like of course, there's loads of shit that happens in this country that's not nice. But I just mean we don't have to worry about survival as much. There's a degree that you've got to worry about survival, but not as much the way like if you're in a starving country and you've got to find 100%. Food and there's dangerous bugs and shit. It's still more monitored here. There's still regulations which make it more safer. Our problems come more at an expectation standard, I think. I think the expectation is what people like. Okay, if a guy disrespects you, I've now got to go and disrespect that guy. That's the mentality of a lot of people. I've got to get one back. It's got to be 1-1. It's
Yeah,
not
but
fair.
that's also because of social media. Because remember, before, if something happened to you and it happened behind closed doors, there wasn't that. But now stuff's happening, it gets exposed on social media, then people feel like they got a safe face, and you know what I'm saying? And that's what it is.
We've learned.
It all comes from the fact that people are never been more narcissistic and never cared more about what people think about them, innit?
Yeah.
And that's just what it is, bro. And that's what social media does. Do you know what I mean? Unfortunately, like, not everyone can handle this thing. Do you know what I'm
We,
saying?
we've learned that the number one fear for a lot of people is public humiliation. And it's
Exactly.
why people will sit there and say, oh my goodness, it must be so good being a YouTuber. It must be so easy being a YouTuber. It's like the 4 years of graft to get paid, to like even get paid
Yep.
decent in this job.
Tell
Learn is
them.
fun. Like, I'm not going to lie. Like, there
Tell
was a lot
them.
of discouraging moment where videos are not doing well in views, or you're not getting those opportunities as you usually do. And it's just a slow couple of months. And financially, you're struggling. You're contemplating going back to your old job. With context, believe me, this isn't actually that easy of a place to be. And also, by the way, especially in a football space, you're getting shat on by 19 other teams' fans for the whole season. Do you get what I'm saying?
Bruv, talk
Just
to
for
them.
simply disagreeing.
Bro, they don't
So,
understand. And that's what it is. You gotta have very thick skin in it to do this. You know what I mean? And also, there's a lot of people that genuinely care about what other people think. And that's why,
100%.
yeah. And this is why they say, oh, like, people are having all these mental health issues, and that only comes from giving a damn about what other people think about you, and really you shouldn't anyway. Do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So it's just one of them ones. Why should you care?
That's literally what's created, though, G. That's what's being like pushed in for time. I think, in my opinion, I think it's a case of how do we make everybody divided in every single situation we possibly can? Like, stylistically, we've got to have differences. Okay. Now we even argue about which colour is better, which is bollocks. And then you're thinking about like all these pointless discussions, which of course have meaning because we engage with them. But if we don't engage with them, then there's no meaning attached. You get what I'm saying? It's back to you understand what your purpose is and you understand the journey you're going on. Whereas that's lost, and it's because we do have this sort of tribal, like, we've got to be the winners and we've got to be doing this. And of course, you don't ever want to be losing, but people's strategy to doing well, it's all short-term stuff. And if you're just going to do short-term stuff that try and give you pleasure, then you're going to be fucked. And that is more prevalent in this generation now. I'll even know from personal experience. I'm not
No,
perfect,
100%. Yeah.
but bro, people just live that way and they flow with it, and then it consumes them to so many levels.
No,
It's
100%. Them man
it's
are
sad.
just looking for the next dopamine hit in it, and that's what it is, and that's why apps like TikTok do so well. Short form
Yeah,
content. People ain't got no concentration no more. Do you know what I mean? That's why I big up my community, because we do long form content and we get big numbers. Most people that do long form content don't get big numbers. Most of these guys are blowing up overnight doing 30-second videos and stuff like that, and it's easy to become notorious or well known on them 30 seconds videos, but they don't pay no money. Do you know what I mean? But a lot of people
yeah.
would want to have the success and be deemed to be doing better than they are, because it's all about image now. Like, that's just all it is. Like, people would rather look like they're doing well than actually be doing well, innit? And that's the society that we live in right now. Someone will say,
They
oh
take
yeah,
us
like, I'm
away.
yeah.
They take us away from our innate, like, what we should actually be doing, our innate value. Where does it come from? So, like, why are they trying to make women the exact same as men? Because I think it'd be more beneficial if we were both doing different jobs. I don't think it's beneficial, Rants. If me and you are brothers and we're both
Yep.
skint, I don't think it's beneficial for me and you to have the same job. Do you know why? Because we're doing the same thing. If we're a
It
team, if
doesn't
we're
make sense.
brothers, if we have a brothership, well, then now it's actually probably productive. I'm doing this job, you go and do another one, but let's
Yeah,
both
you
learn
need to
different
be you need to
skills.
be strong where I'm weak, innit? Do you know what I'm saying?
Facts,
But the
facts,
thing
and
is,
that's not enough.
yeah, but the thing is, bro, everyone knows they're trying to double the workforce. That's all it is. Like that. That's all it is, because if you double the workforce, it means more people paying taxes. That's all it means. That's the
Nah,
real
but bro, do you
reason
know my
why all
biggest
of this
problem with
is.
like that stuff? Yeah, and it's not even that I'm trying to go too political or whatnot, but it's divisive. So you see now, there's so many more mental health problems. There's a reason for that. It's because the family unit's broken, bro. Someone's just said it's red pill. It's not even red pill stuff. It's basic statistics, bro. Go and do your research. Like based on statistical analysis, you can have a look at families being split apart more and more. 6 hours a day, your kids are going to a building with a bunch of strangers. Think about all the stories you've seen of creepy ass teachers or teachers who are immoral in many ways. It's a consistent theme, bro, and it's because you're getting strangers paying them 25 grand a year to go and take care of your children and put their future as a priority. It's not sustainable. They're living in a council house. They're going to a school that's full of shit houses that live in council houses, and you're not getting any respect, and you're getting a low wage for it. And you expect under law me to just say, go ahead then, sweet, I'm happy with my kid going there. And if I want increased facilities, I've now got to pay 5 times the price. That to me is wild. And like the fact that you see kids going 6 hours a day there, they've also now got your kids on the phones. So now they're giving you or giving your kids the content that they want to, or that isn't what you're enforcing. It's not your family law. Do you get what I'm
bro.
saying?
Yeah, but that's what I mean.
And
TikTok's
then
raising
you're getting
other
the
people's
mum.
kids, bro.
And then you're getting the mum and dad to not even supervise the situation. So nobody's supervising this kid with this device where it's accessible to any information that he can possibly find. And then he's going to school with strangers who are fucking depressed. Adults who are genuinely depressed. Like, it is crazy. And I think that's what it is. I think that's what it's aimed to do. And I think that's why you see, because it was on the topic of you mentioning about people, the rise in mental health issues, you know what I mean? I think that's a big reason. I think the way society is run is not natural to what we're used to. Not that we're supposed to be
Of
the
course.
same, but
No, but you're right. But that's the whole. But that's what social media has done, because they always say what the comparisons is what the thief of joy in it. And at the end of the day, now more than ever, you can see more of what everyone else has. Do you know what I mean? And that impacts your relationships. This impacts your personal life. It impacts everything, because now you've got 15, 16-year-old kids thinking that they should be running around with 500-pound Jordans on their feet. Do you know what I'm saying?
yeah,
Like, that doesn't make sense. Like, when I was growing up, yeah, like, I used to go to school and I only saw the kids that were at my school. And because I went to school in my area, everyone never had nothing, you know, like that. So I wasn't seeing a guy with 300-pound trainers and we ain't got 300-pound trainers. I'm not
yeah,
seeing a guy with the latest expensive football boots and we don't have that. Everyone's in the same boat.
yeah,
The problem is now you got social media. Do you know what I mean? If you've got a girl, you look on social media and you can see a million girls that look better than your girl. Do you know what I'm saying? If you've got
it's sad,
social
man.
media,
Nah,
you
it's
can
sad.
see a million kids that have better trainers than you. You can see a million kids that have this, or a million guys that have this and have that. How are you ever going to be happy if you keep comparing yourself to other people? You're not. And that's why
Nah,
you
it's a
shouldn't really
shame.
care about other people's opinions, bro. And this is exactly why, if it's in the wrong hands, if it's in the hands of a weak mind, yeah, it will annihilate you, bro. Like that's what
Million
it will.
percent. Million percent. Bang on, bro. Think, look at us having productive conversations on a footballing show. That's why you subscribe and like people, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, but that's what I mean. But that's why there's shows called Rants and Redmond. We could talk about whatever the hell we want to talk about.
We the guys, bro. We the
You know,
guys, you
like
know what I'm
that.
saying?
Man said that's the effects of liberal society seeking maximum freedom destroys tradition and values. But this is why, yeah, I don't believe. I don't believe in this. Do you know what I mean? Because like they said somewhere that they said the more accepting a society is, the less free it actually becomes. You know,
Yeah.
like that. Because real freedom, yeah, if you want real freedom, yeah, then you go to a place like Dubai. You're free in Dubai because there's rules. Do you know what I mean? If you're in Dubai, you can walk around with a Richard Mille watch on and you know no one's gonna rob you. Do you know what I'm saying? You can leave your car unlocked, you can leave your front door unlocked and know no one's gonna break into your house. That's freedom. Do you know what I mean? Freedom is not, oh, I can run around wearing a rainbow armband and I can wear a t-shirt saying that Jesus is gay, yeah, but then I might get stabbed for my watch on the way home.
Facts.
That's not freedom. Do you know what
Nah,
I'm
no.
saying? Like,
Yeah.
freedom is not, oh, I can't leave my house with this because I might get robbed. That's not freedom. Do you know what I'm saying? And everyone in
Yeah.
Dubai is not rich. Do you know what I mean? If you've
Where
been
I get a
there,
problem.
If you've
Yeah,
been there, you'll see that everyone in
nah, that's
Dubai is not
fact.
rich.
Yeah, that's fact.
There's poverty in Dubai also.
No, that's right. That's right. I get a problem when it gets infiltrated into the laws. So, for instance, like I don't even think it's a direct liberal thing, and I'm not even a right winger. Honestly, I don't look at it. I think it's one big. I think it's an illusion of choice. I really do. People can say that I'm going too down the rabbit hole. That's fair enough. But based on the evidence that I've done, I think that there's enough to suggest that it's kind of all just one big party, and you're just all watching it, and it's just one of those things where it doesn't really matter who was going to be in charge because it weren't going to make significant difference anyway. Maybe in some aspects, but. No,
Yeah, but it's just different places. Like in the places where the governments are more strict, yeah, and people over here look and say that they have less freedom, they actually have more
yeah,
freedom. You
no,
know,
they
like
do.
that. They have way
They
more
do.
freedom.
I have a
And that's the
problem when it
thing.
gets into speech. Do you know when it gets into
Yeah, but
speech?
there's an
Like set your
illusion of
own.
freedom in the West, but it's like I know somebody who was posting some stuff, was posting some anti what's this that Nigel Farage stuff when
Yeah,
we were leading into Brexit and the police turned up to his house
yeah,
because of a Facebook post. That's not freedom. You know like that. It's like what you can type something on Facebook and the police can trace your IP address and come to your house. Is that
yeah,
really freedom? Like but that you can't be against a fascist, like do you know what I mean? That's not freedom. Do you know what I mean? So
yeah,
it's just an illusion of freedom. It's not real freedom. I'd rather know that I'm in a country that if I do something mad, there's going to be grave consequences because then that means everyone's safe. Do you
yeah.
know what I'm saying? Now, that's what it means. So it's like, what is freedom, bro? Yeah, what is freedom? If people are just minding their own business and people are getting stabbed, or like in America, you can get shot in Walmart, like just buying like a loaf of bread, bro, and the person can walk free. Talk about self-defense and that.
Do you know what I don't like? I don't like English as a limited language, though. Because what we were saying there about what is freedom and whatnot, and this is why I have a big problem with the speech aspect of it. Because the second you say that, the second that you give someone the authority to say you can't say this word, I now have a big issue with that because now they have the authority to say you can't say this, you can't speak about that, and that's a huge issue. So for me, I sit there like, yeah, for instance, I was in town a couple of weeks ago and my mate was preaching in the street because I go to church, and he was just doing his thing, speaking to people and whatnot, and he invites people to come and ask him questions based on the religion and ask questions about Jesus, and he's a really good guy. I like to watch him, I like to learn off him and see how to communicate with people and whatnot. A girl came over who was gay, and you know what, lad, seemed like a lovely girl, but just had a big problem with the idea that like the fact like the Bible says that that's wrong and whatever. But it's like, no, but what he was trying to explain is the idea of the Christian God, if you're going to believe in him, is that he gives you free will to do what you want and you choose whether or not to go with him, because it's not
Sure.
love, it's forced. If you're forced just loving God and whatnot, then it's not love by definition. It's indoctrination, in fact. So that was the explained thing. It's like you get to choose, and the problem is that there's words for it. It's like, well, actually, you supporting the Bible is homophobic. You know what I'm saying? And I've had other like groups and whatnot, like especially nowadays as a Christian, there's so many things getting taken down. And to me, that's interesting seeing where we go, and that's why I think freedom of speech is probably one of the most important things that we've got, because it at least gives us the right to discuss these things. And the same way we come up to conclusions on certain topics and say that is really dumb, having drag queens in school is a very fucking stupid idea. Well, it's our freedom of
But it's
speech that allows
gone.
us to come
Yeah,
to our
but even
conclusion.
that's gone now. Like even with the new guidelines here as well, where they're saying
No, oh yeah, oh
they're
no,
saying
it doesn't
they're
exist yet.
saying
Yeah,
that apparently yeah you can get they're gonna start making swearing strikeable. Like if if they don't like what you're saying, you can get a strike now. Do you know what I'm
yeah.
saying? And it's like, bro, but this is the way we're going. This is the way we're
But
going.
that's why they create
Unfortunately,
these narratives, though. The enforced narratives is what I'm trying to say. The enforced narratives to make us all believe as a society there is a true separation between gay people and straight people, between white people and black people, and then they make words that make us go against each other. So now, James, you're racist. Well, what did they say that was racist? It might have not been anything racist, but now you can just say, James, you're racist. And I'm like, whoa, okay, now I've just been called this really strong word that I've now got to oppose. And you ask a lot of people what it means. A lot of them don't even know. Do you get what I'm
yeah.
saying? Like the same way
No.
you can say, I look like the fella off Kingsman. Do you know what I
Yeah.
mean? I remember I called expressions Chris Rock or something like that, and someone went, "Oh, James, I wouldn't be calling expressions Chris Rock and whatnot." I'm like, that guy calls me the Scouse friggin' Matt. What's the kid called off the whatever film? Do you know the Scouser? What's it called again? Don't even know. But what I'm saying is that they create these problems and conversations with each other because then we start beefing each other and then we take our eyes on who's fucking doing it to us.
Yeah, fact.
Nah, it's a shame, bro. It's a
You're
shame.
100%. But this is what it is, man. I think also people are bored in their life and they just drama excites them. Do you know what I mean?
We're also tribal, so we have to choose a team, and that's why
Yeah.
they say, yeah, well, there's left and there's right, and there's
But
this
it's the
and there's
same in
that.
football, innit? It's like if you like one player, you have to dislike the next player, even within your
Yeah,
teams. In my team, it was you're either Rashford or Martial. Do you know what I mean? You can't like both of them. Do you know what I'm saying? And then it was that you have to be Pogba or Bruno, or you have to be this player or that player. It's like no, like I just like what I like, and I don't like what I don't like, and that's all
of
it is.
course.
Not everything has to be pick a side,
Yeah,
not
like if it's not
everything needs to be
physically
that.
detrimental to you and it's not going to take food off your table, I just don't think it should be a problem to disagree on opinions. Don't think it's a problem.
Bro, the day you're not allowed to disagree with people, you know the world's completely finished. Do you know what I mean? Like debating is some of the best things to have, and do you know what I mean? How do you learn if you don't debate people? Because in a debate, you're either right or you're wrong. Do you know what
That's
I mean?
right.
Either way, you're gonna learn something, or even if you're both right, it gives you an opportunity to see a different perspective. Either way, if
Yeah,
people aren't challenging each other's opinions anymore, and everyone just agrees with everything, then what is the
yeah,
point, bruv? Like what is the absolute point of anything? Do you know what I mean?
yeah. You
What
don't
would be the
evolve
point
that
of
way.
Twitter if everyone just had the same opinion? Do you know how dead Twitter would be if you just open Twitter and everyone was like, "Oh yeah, like yeah, life is great," and everyone was just tweeting, "Yeah, love life, life's great."
There's a problem with that as well, like letting people control the narrative or letting the narrative stay the same just because you're used to it. There's a problem with that. Like to deny that the world always is, evolving and we're saying like, we certainly learn more things over time. Do you get what I'm saying? It depends what you do with that information, which is important as well. And I think a lot of people don't know how to dissect conversation, and I don't think they understand the true meaning of a debate. I think it's a case of if you oppose a certain opinion, there's usually a word that they can call you with that. And it's interesting, you know what I mean? Because that word can only be used by certain groups and whatnot as well. So, like, it's to me, I sit there and I think, okay, then it's interesting that you can say someone's like a fascist or something, you know what I mean? And it's like, but then they can call you something. So it's like, let's actually discuss about the points that we're talking. Let's see if the premise works and let's work off that premise. And then if you go against that premise, that's when I can say to you, well, actually, that's not right because it goes against what you said before. But
No
people aren't even
facts.
willing to engage in that.
100%. Hey, you lot, make sure you smash up the like, man. Big show. Do you know what I mean? And this super chat is spot on. It's just like, again, even morality. It's like morality is a grey area. Do you know what I mean? Because different situations will put you in instances where what you might see as morally right is not what I see as morally right. Like who's to decide what's moral and what's not? Like, do you know what I'm saying? Different situations, desperate times, bro. Do you know what I mean? Will put you in situations where all of a sudden it's not wrong. Do you know what I'm saying? And that's the thing
Yeah.
about life. The beauty of life is, yeah, you could say it depends to almost anything.
Yep.
Do you know what I'm saying? It depends. Do you know what I mean?
Facts.
It's like most things are not set in stone. Most things are not black and white. Do you know what I mean? I can always find you a reason why, okay, maybe I would do it differently in this situation.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? And this is the instance, and this is why you can say, yo, like if Antony did what he did, this is mad. I can see how he looks. In my opinion, he's probably guilty, but at the same time, I don't like the fact that it's taken 9 months for someone to come out and press charges. Like both of them things can be correct. Do you know what I mean? That
Yeah.
does not displace. That doesn't take away from the first bit.
That's
But
right.
these are two complete separate instances that we're analyzing from one thing. Do you see
Yep.
what I'm saying? So it's not just this is what happened. That's the end of it, bro. In life, there's so many different nuances in life. You can be okay with one thing and not okay with the next, or
Yep.
vice versa. Like, do you know what I mean? So this whole thing where people want to try and police your morals or tell you how you should feel about certain things or how you should react to certain things.
Yeah.
It's ridiculous. And even that, in 9 months, evidence can be created. You're absolutely right. It's a long time. You can create a child in just over 9 months. So you can definitely Photoshop some stuff. Do you know what I mean?
Nah, definitely.
So, do you know what I mean? It's mad, isn't it? It's mad, but
That's why shows like this keep my life going, bro. People like yourself and people who I choose to hang around. I always make sure that I choose to hang around people who are just open to discuss. I don't care if we disagree, mate. You know what I mean? Go and do what you want to do. If you're a sound person, you sound with me, mate. If you're a twat, you're a twat. Don't chill
that's
with
it.
twat. It's one of those.
100%.
And that's why I say that to anyone. Just always be looking to engage. Go and learn. You know what I mean? You can learn off someone you disagree with. There's many times I've
100%.
spoke to you, and even if I disagreed with your overall point, you've made me like the Sancho conversation before. I was like, you know what? Rants just gave me a little bit more information, which is very useful for me using a conclusion on this. It's now made me a little bit more balanced on my initial opinions. You get what I'm saying?
Yeah,
That's an example
100%.
of why it's good to have conversations. So I'll always say to
Always.
everyone, just learn how to do it, learn how to talk. A lot of people say
No,
they speak English and they don't have a fucking clue. They say every 2 minutes, like, mate.
It's facts. You know like that. Hey, you lot. Hey, smash up the like button. Make sure you subscribe to James Redmond TV. You already know what it is. Hey, switch the notifications on also, if you haven't, on my channel. And yeah, make sure you subscribe if you're new here. Closing in on 80,000, man. So
Jeez.
let's get this, man. You know what I mean? What you got coming up, bro?
Doing a stream in a bit. First stream that I've done in days. It'll be like 15 minutes, half an hour. Depends when I set it up. So feel free to tune into that if you want. It's just an interactive stream. But appreciate it though, chat. Make sure you smash those likes on the way out. And big up to you as well, bro.
Love that. And big up, guys. You already know what it is. Man's gonna chill for a little bit, and then we're gonna start our watch party for Top Boy season 3. You get me?
Jeez.
You know, like that. So,
Jeez.
yo, man's looking forward to it. I swear, bro. Like, I ain't been on Twitter or nothing like that. To be fair, I'm not on there like that anyway. I can't tell you the last
Yeah.
time I logged in, but I'm hearing that loads of people are talking about it on Twitter, yeah, and I'm hearing that, yeah, it's getting some good reviews. So I'm looking forward to watching that at 9 p.m. people. You get me? So big up everyone inside, and I'll see you guys back here in